What's the difference between payroll tax, self-employment tax, sales tax, and income tax? It'll probably be apparent once I explain what each one is. Payroll tax is about 7.5% paid by employees and 7.5% paid by employers. And it varies a little bit from area to area, roughly about that. So about 15% of your total paycheck. And you know how on your paycheck, when you work at a job, there are withholdings on that for Social Security and FICA? That's what we call payroll tax. So half of it's paid by the employees, half is paid by the employer. If you work for yourself, you're both the employer and the employee. So you pay the full 15%. We don't call it payroll tax anymore, though. Now we call it self-employment tax. So it's the same idea. You're contributing money to Social Security and FICA and various government programs. But instead of calling it payroll tax like we do when there's a company and an employee, like a corporation, you are paying it all yourself. You're either a sole proprietor, a partner, or you own an LLC taxed under default rules. And in that case, we call it a self-employment tax. It's the 15% that you pay. Income tax is on top of that. So when you pay income tax, that's for all the money that you bring in, whether it's from a job or some other source. And you pay your federal income tax, and if you have a state income tax, then you pay some money to the state as well. Federally, that might be a 20% tax rate or a 35% tax rate. And then you've got your state percentage coming off that as well. So many people don't realize when they have a paycheck, they're paying payroll tax, state income tax, federal income tax. All that is being taken by the government, which is why when you get your paycheck, there are such significant withholdings. Most people who get their first job take a look at their first paycheck and they say, wait a second, I should be getting a lot more money. But then the employer explains, no, all this money was taken out for the government. All right, so let's talk about sales tax. What is that? Sales tax is when you go buy something at the store and the store collects a portion of money for the state. So if you're not familiar with tax law in the United States, you might be going, wait a second. So when you earn money, the employer takes out payroll tax. When you then pay your annual income tax, that's coming out. It might come out to the state and federal government. And then when you spend your money, you also have to pay sales tax. That's decided on a state-by-state basis, but the general rule is yes, you do. Without getting too much into the ideas behind it, I have two very strong views on this, and I'll just share my bias with you, and they're conflicting views. I think it is misleading to taxpayers for the government to pull money from all different directions in all different ways, because then taxpayers don't realize how much they're actually paying in taxes to the government. But here's my conflicting view. Having a variety of ways for the government to get taxes means that nobody can really game the system. We are able to make sure, or as a government, the government is able to make sure that it's getting taxes from different people in all different walks of life and different arrangements. For example, if the criminal steals $1 million, they still have to spend that money. And so we're at least able to tax the criminal through sales tax. If a person earns money but spends very, very little, we're at least able to get some tax from that person by the income tax. And you might say, well, why do we care? Well, we have to fund roads and fire departments and police departments and all the government agencies. It'd be wonderful if it was as simple as the Wild West, where there are no laws and you don't need anyone to enforce it, or very few laws. But these days we have the amenities of interstates, parks that require maintenance, and the need for law enforcement as we have more and more people and more issues. So anyway, that's the idea behind why we have all these different tax types, so that even though it may be average citizens don't understand how much they're paying, the benefit is at least everybody is paying and the government's getting people at different points. All right. If you have any constructive feedback, please feel free to provide that. I am somewhat new to this, and I'm working to provide value that's relevant to you as business owners and other listeners interested in entrepreneurial and business topics. It's my goal to demystify business law so that people have practical understanding and are empowered to run their business and avoid legal problems and hopefully experience a better business and a better life. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can go to aaronhall.com. If you'd like the free videos that I send out only exclusively to subscribers, you can get them at aaronhall.com/free. And if you'd like more content like this, you are welcome to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you will be notified next time when we go live, which I expect will be quite soon here. Thanks for joining me today.